Yo, 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 my Star Citizens and Noob Gamers. Welcome back to another episode of Not Star Citizen. Today's episode, what I'm going to do is mainly for content creators who are putting videos up. One big thing I learned with content is your title is a big thing and your thumbnail is a big thing. So what I'm going to do is just show you how I create my thumbnails. It might be useful to some people, might not, but I thought I'd do it anyway because it's something I would have been curious of, and obviously was because I learned how to do it. If you take the first look cat moment here, the two different, they just look totally different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a picture from in here that I've just downloaded. Normally what I'll do is take a screenshot, but I've downloaded a picture and I'll show you what I do with that picture just to make it pop a little bit more. Moscow here, this one. So I'm going to pick this Moscow one here. I'll double click it and that'll go into open up my Photoshop here. And there's my image. So the first thing I will do is I will take my background one and I'll duplicate it and then hide the back layer. And then what I'll do is I'll go to, so I'll go to filter, I go to camera raw filter here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to curve first. I'm just going to add a little bit down here in the lower, just to bring this down across here, down at the top. And I'm just going to take the top bit and push it up, just to bring some of this up here. Then what I'm going to do is, so the difference on that is that. Then what I'm going to do is just a little bit of sharpening on the detail. And that just gives you a little bit of sharpening. And then color grading. I'm going to set the midtones to an orange, just give it a little bit of orange midtones. And the shadows I'm going to set to a little bit of greeny blue type of colour. And if we look at that now, just pops a little bit more with the orange and red sort of colours. So then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the basic and I'm going to leave exposure. I'm going to bring up the contrast a bit just to darken it a little bit. As you see, it's squashing this down a little bit. And then I'm going to, probably a bit too much, and then I'm going to bring up the highlights a bit, take down the shadows a little bit, just so it's a little bit better with the shadows. Bring up the whites, so the whites pop a little bit better, and the blacks, just take a little bit of them off, so the blacks are a bit more richer. And then a little bit, play it around with the texture. And then I'm going to, the biggest part here is the dehaze. So I'm going to dehaze it, and you'll see as I'm dehazing it, it's just removing that white sheen over it. And then what I'll do is I'll take the saturation and that will pop it more, give it a lot more of a pop type of feel. So if I show you the difference, that's before and that's after. Big difference. It's a bit hazy, washed out colours. That's a bit more pop. I mean, you could play around some darks if you want, bring some of the darks down, some of the blacks up or whatever, and some of the shadows up maybe. So if I prefer that one, so okay that, and as you see if I on this, there you go, so it just pops it a little bit more. Secondly, I will go to the filter again and I will go to neutral filters, or neural filters should I say, and what I'll do is I'll sometimes I'll look at this the JPEG artifact remover, which sort of removes some of the bits in it, so it's not as bitty. If I put that on high, you would see it seems really blurry, like it loses a lot of detail. So I set it to low and see what that looks like. That looks fine. There we are. So that looks fine. And then what I'll do is I'll go to depth blur and I'll find my focal point, what I want, and you can point that on here wherever you want. So if you say you've got a ship or something on here, whatever you want to focal it, be the focus, you do that. And then I'll bring the blur strength down to about 2 or 3 and the focal range up a little bit. And you'll see then once this processes just around the edges of this, it will be a bit more blurred. And that's just whether you want that or not. Generally, if you've got something on like a ship in the screen, it's nice to have everything else just blur off around it. So that's that. So if we look at that, that's before, that's after. I actually prefer before, so I'll turn them off because I don't like the depth blur. That's really good when you've normally got a subject that you can want focused more than anything else, like if you had a ship and then the rest of it was just background, like snow and mountains and stuff like that. So now we got, there we are. So I'm not even liking that, so I'm going to cancel that because I prefer it like this as it is. And then what I'll do then is I've already got my colors set on here, and then I'll just take a text and I'll put, so this is what I'll use as my thumbnail for this video. So how to create a popping thumbnail, something like that. And then what I'll do is obviously make that smaller. Did I spell that right? Not a clue. Obviously put that center. That's me there, and then up a little bit. Is that spelled right? Thumbnail. Let me check spellings. Thumbnail. AI. Yeah. And then capitalize the P. Make sure that's capitalized. How to create a popping thumbnail. Cool. Make sure that's center now that I've changed that text. You can tell it's center with the line here that goes down the middle. That line. And then what I'll do is I'll add the effects here. And what I've done is I've got a drop shadow, these settings. I've got a gradient overlay, which gives it this orangey red color at the top with these settings. And then I've got the, I use a inner glow with these settings. But what I'm gonna do is take the size of this down, just so you just get the edges, the yellow edges here. Take that down a little bit. And then I'll use a stroke with these settings. And I'll probably take this up to about 6 maybe. Yeah, 5 or 6. 5, probably better. So it's just about feeling what's right. So that's that. Now what you could do if you want to make that text pop more is you could take the blur tool here on the background and you could just sort of blur over anything that goes under it, so it just pops a little bit better. And then what I'll do is I'll drop in, oh, not on that. What I'll do is I'll drop in some things that I have, like that. So I have this Star Citizen logo which I drop in here and bring over here to whatever size you want. Probably about there. And then I'll take off my link there just because it seems a bit squashed, and then put that back on. And then what I'll do is I'll go back in here. Once that's done, actually, put back in here, I'll take my little man here, which I have on all my thumbnails, and drop him down to a decent size that I want. Make sure he's at the line with that at the bottom and over this side here. And then what I might do is just reviewing it. I might do that and then make that bigger. So I will go there, make that a little bit bigger. How to create a pop-in thumbnail. I think I'll just have to eyeball it. I think it's around there. That's where it's snapping to. So I think it's around there. And then I'll turn these back on. And what I've done with these is I double click them again. Same drop shadow. This time I'll do the outer glow with these settings. It just gives it that little bit of a glow around it. I'll put in the inner glow as well. And then I'll put in the stroke. But this time I'll bring the stroke down to about 201, like that. And that's that. And then I'll do the same with the little dude over here. Drop shadow, outer glow, inner glow, and stroke. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll take the outer glow and just bring that down a bit. So it's like that. And maybe do the same with the logo over here. Maybe do the same. Outer glow and just bring that same. There we are. And that is how basically I do my thumbnails. I definitely don't think that's censor, but there we are, that'd be it. There we are. And there we are. So that's how I create my thumbnails. Hopefully that helps some of you guys out. If it does, don't forget to take this pointer and tickle that like button for us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification for more videos. Maybe any suggestions. I am thinking about doing a video on how I edit my videos as well. Maybe if anybody's interested in that, let me know. But that's how I make mine anyway. So hopefully that helps you guys out. And yeah. So the other thing to remember is once I save this, I'll save it as how to. Okay, that. Then what I'll do is, for YouTube, it has to be 1.9 megabytes. So when you export as, you'll see here it comes up with a number, so 8.1. So what I'll have to do is I'll take this down here, so maybe 40%. Too much, so 49%. There we are. So that's what it has to be, 1.9. And then I'll export that like that, and I'll put maybe YT for YouTube and save that as a ping. And that's that saved basically. And that's it. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Hopefully it gives you some information. Like I said, don't forget to take that pointer and tickle that like button, guys. And yeah, we'll see you out in the verse, guys.